All right, it is July 18th. This is a meeting of the FAA, and so I'll call the meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, we've got a couple new members that are joining us, Dan Edmondson and Jerry DiDonato. Do you guys want to kind of introduce yourselves and a little bit about yourselves? And oh, go ahead, Dan.
Right. Dan Edmondson, moved to Dudley about 14 months ago with my girlfriend and 9-year-old boy. Liking it here a lot. Professionally working in construction, design project manager for a firm up in Leominster. I contacted the town, I think it was back in February, just interested in volunteering, and here I am. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Jerry?
I'm Jerry DiDonato. I've been living in Dudley for about a year now. Great town. Happy to be here. I'm in a retail business. Just wanted to do something and get involved with the town I live in, and that's why I'm here.
Excellent. Our next order of business would be to reorganize our committee. Recently, our chairman, Kerry Siganevicius, was elected to the Board of Selectmen, so that left that seat vacant. The vice chair, Ed's our vice chair, LaPointe, and I think, would it be appropriate to reorganize at a later date?
I agree.
When Ed is here?
I think you want to have all your members here, so just table it until your next meeting.
All right, so is there a motion to table the reorganization? I'm going to make that motion. All right, so there's a motion to table the reorganization. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
The next is our public business, which we have year-end transfers for fiscal year 17, and kind of.
So I can walk you through it.
Okay.
There's a sheet that the committee has in front of it. Money's necessary to balance the budget for fiscal year 2017. For the public that's watching at home, fiscal year 2017 ended on June 30th, and the vote of the FAA and Selectmen is needed to move money between accounts so that each account is not in a deficit as we close our fiscal year. So there's a total of $78,122.20 needed in transfers. Of those, the most notable are our snow and ice deficit of $39,812.51, and additional funding for the fire department, salaries $4,136.50, EMS medical coverage $19,429.51, and fire department overtime $6,984.28. Again, the fire department request is for $30,550.29. On the left-hand side shows the sources of funds, so that if you look at it and you see the notation that starts with FAA reserve and you read down, that shows you where the funds are available to complete these transfers in their entirety. Most of them are fairly small. However, there's a particular noteworthy one that I did want to bring to your attention: Selectmen's operating expenses. So we have a $50,941 balance in that account to close the year. And that's reflective of the fact that administration had negotiated a settlement with the utility company for electrical charges. So we had been, I think, Mike, as you know, we've been paying too much for electricity for our municipal buildings and streetlights for a long time. And so those negotiations were completed, and those negotiations resulted in a substantial credit, and that substantial credit is reflected here in the amount that we close out the year in that account. So we're in good shape. And I would ask you to approve these, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the particulars, either the requested amounts or the sources of funds.
Greg, the EMS night coverage.
Yeah,
Is there a shortfall?
yeah, we expected that there would be a shortfall in the account. So, percentage-wise, we underfunded this account. We
Is it-
underfunded this account because we thought that, a year ago, our revenues for ambulance receipts would be sufficient to raise this. And it turned out that the amount that we had on June 30th of 2016 actually received didn't warrant an increase. So we knew this number was going to come in. For FY 2018, which is the year that we're in now, we increased the EMS coverage by $4,114. So just to alert you, we still have a potential shortfall on that account a year from now.
Is that 19 part of what we put in the budget?
Yes.
So that is included?
So no, the 19, so we appropriated, so the total amount that got appropriated for night coverage for FY 2017, which is the year that we're dealing with, is $164,579. So it'd be the $164,579,
Yeah.
who's what we voted at town meeting,
Yeah.
plus the $19,429, brings us to what the total amount that we would have spent in that account for this year.
Okay. Because I remember in the budget, we had, we were adding cash from the general account to cover the EMS.
Right.
And so this is in addition to that amount.
Yeah, so, again, I think for fiscal year 2018, we have to go back, and we just closed our books on June 30th, so it's literally like you have 3 fiscal years open at one time. So we will look and see how strong our revenues were on June 30th of this year. And it could be that those revenues are strong enough that we won't have a shortfall in that account. But I'm saying, if you take this number and just simply carry it forward, there's a potential shortfall in that account. And we knew it, but we didn't want to budget what we didn't have money for.
Okay.
And like I said,
The only concerns I had on that, I don't know if you were here. Were you here when we did the override for the ambulance?
No.
For the 24/7 coverage? 'Cause
can't-
that
I
seems
can't-
like it's falling short of
Yeah.
meeting the costs for that. And then on top of that, if the receipts aren't coming in.
Yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to look at how strong our June 30th numbers were. They weren't strong enough a year ago to raise it, and that's why we have a shortfall. There's a lot of numbers, things that go into the mix in terms of where the money comes from, but, the operation brings in a lot of money, but it's not enough to cover this one item.
And I hate to open up a can of worms, but what kind of oversight for the billing? In other words, when that ambulance goes out, what, are we matching up when that goes out for
So we
billing?
have a company that engages and does all of the billing and chases down the bills and chases down any delinquent bills or someone that doesn't pay. So, in all towns, collection of ambulance revenue is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of reasons, people don't have insurance, people don't give the right names, but it seems to be less of a problem here than what I've
Right.
seen in other towns.
Yeah, it can get out of hand.
It can get out of hand real quick, and in some towns, the uncollected amount gets really big, and I haven't seen that here.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, so you're gonna need 47,571.91, is that the transfer amount?
So the total transfer amount is $78,122.20, and that's made up of the $47,571.91, and it's also made up of an additional $30,550.29, for, again, a grand total of $78,122.20.
You have that number, 78, what is it, 78,1?
$78,122.20.
Okay. Unless there's any other questions for Greg, if somebody wants to make a motion to transfer that 78,000, Entertain a motion for that.
I make a motion that we transfer the funds, the $78,122.20 as noted.
I second.
Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any other miscellaneous stuff? Anyone?
I think the next time I meet with you, we'll present you with how we did with our fiscal 2017 collections and revenues. So I thought we did pretty well. I thought our collections were pretty strong, but what we want to do is see how we did at the end of the year. The things that were most noteworthy were tax title collections were strong, and we also received a lot of money on one-time building permit fees. Couple of large building permits. One permit alone stands at about $75,000. So we want to see how those
Is
numbers.
that on one of the solar fields, or?
Yeah, and it was a electrical permit fee that the selectmen established, and we didn't have that permit fee until a couple of years ago, but the selectmen were wise enough to establish it before these companies came, and it resulted in the town receiving that money.
Anything else?
That's it.
What about, when do we certify free cash? When does that get certified?
So it'll be, we have to complete the balance sheet, so typically the balance sheet is completed within the next, say, 30 to 45 days. That gets submitted to the Department of Revenue, and we have our free cash certification sometime generally in October. We'll have to set a date for October town meeting, so for the newer members, we have a town meeting in October. The selectmen will set that date. It's usually somewhere late October, early November timeframe, and we'll have our free cash certified for that meeting.
Is there any anticipated?
Amount?
Yeah, that we can,
I mean, if you could look at past history, the town has kind of brought in around $400,000 in free cash. It's been a pretty steady number. Sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little lower, but at least over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been in that $400,000 range. And I don't see anything that indicates it wouldn't be in that range again.
any major expenses that you see coming up?
We have some holes in our budget. I think, as I mentioned to you, we, with the ambulance receipts, we didn't fund it fully. Our snow and ice account, we have $85,000 in funding. We've been increasing it $5,000 a year. We didn't do it this year, so we want to be able to put some money toward that. And the good news is we're done with the legal fees on the litigation related to the cemetery. So, and you can see that's not part of the list, so the public will say, we didn't need a transfer for those legal fees, but the amount of money that we spent was substantial.
Right.
It cost us a lot of money, but we're able to do it within the money that we had available.
Okay, I guess we'll have to have a reorganization meeting probably sometime in either late September or early October before the supplemental budget comes out. So if there's anything else, somebody wants to move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting over.
That's good.
Easy, right?